Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, YouTube. I've tried to do it in order. Anyway, it's evening. So I've been reading The Silver Chair by C.S. Lewis, and I'm reading this for my grandchildren. So I hope someday maybe one of my grandchildren will be able to listen to this and kind of get to know their grandpa a little bit. My children would be nice. I used to read to my kids a lot, not as much as I wish I'd read to them a lot more now after reading the Enchanted Hour and about how big of a difference that makes. My two older children, my daughter Anna and my son Ian, I probably read to them more. They got more of everything, from my wife and I. When we lived in Colorado in Aurora, we used to go camping every other weekend. We would go up in the mountains and the Rockies and go fishing, primarily fishing. We didn't always go camping, but we did a lot of camping. They were with me on a lot of those trips. And my daughter Susie was with me on a few of them, at least one I know, because that was a 30 below zero one up in the Rockies. My son Ian always slept through survival experiences, and that was one of them. My two daughters and I sat up really late. I had unzipped my Air Force flight pants and my Carhartt jacket, and unzipped it and threw it back at me because it was so hot by the fire. By the time we went to bed, it was way too late. My son Ian ate and went to bed. He had a hot meal he had his body covers up his hot meal. Got in his sleep bag. He slept all night long, never even woke up. My daughters and I got in the sleeping bag, and I hear three sets of teeth chattering, and I'm like, oh boy, hypothermia coming on. So I got them up, I roused them up, and we built the fire back up, threw some wood on it, was right there, and had something hot to eat and drink. Went back to sleep, we were fine. So anyway, I've told that story before, I know, but just, my oldest children had more of the camping and, outdoor stuff, and probably more reading too, I'm sure, because I was very big on reading, and my daughter Susie actually remembers me reading a lot of things to her. Now, she and I read almost every one of the Louis L'Amour books, which is very good. My daughter Anna, I remember her reading, I had her read From Sea to Shining Sea about the Seminole Indian Nation. Very good book. And I also read, no, that was Light and Distant Fire. I'm sorry, Light and Distant Fire. From Sea to Shining Sea was about the Rogers Clark family, George Rogers Clark and William Clark. So written by the mother. It was a historical family novel, and that was excellent. Very instructive. So anyway, I'm just kind of talking out loud to my kids and grandchildren. So I remember going camping with Anna and Ian and Susie, and shooting with them, and remember the first time Ian shot my bulldog, he hit himself in the nose or the head with it. So several years later, a couple of years later, I don't know, it wasn't too long, maybe next year, we're up in the mountains with a friend of mine, and he had the bulldog is a 44 special, right? Not a very powerful cartridge, but it was a light gun. It's an airweight gun, alloy gun. Hit him in the head. So a few years later, maybe next year, it might have been the next year, I don't know, maybe let's say 2 years later maximum, we're up in the mountains, and a friend has a 41 mag Smith & Wesson stainless steel snub nose revolver, like 2.5 inch barrel, 41 mag. So Ian's going to go sit. I'm just praying he doesn't hit himself, and he touches it up. Boom! He goes up in the air like it should. Turns around and says, "That's got a sweet trigger pull." So he learned a lot between the time he shot the bulldog and the time he shot the 41 mag. I'll tell you. I mean, that was an experience too. We had a friend of mine goes, I like big fires. He was a part Cherokee, and he's like, I love a big fire. So he got a big bonfire going, and he had a bunch of oak pallets there from work. He put about as high many oak pallets as he threw the top one about 15 high, and they're very level. They didn't fall over, and that thing got going. I'll tell you what, we couldn't get within 100 feet of that thing. It was so hot we couldn't hardly, So what we had to do, for dinner we had brats, bratwurst, sausages, and we had to get really long sticks and we made a barrier of pallets so we could cut the heat down. We sat behind the pallets, and I remember being about like 30, couldn't have been 30 feet, but let's say 15 feet away. We cooked the hot dogs on a stick from like 15 feet away, so we didn't burn ourselves. That was crazy. Then he said, I love night fire. So he had to fire the difference between his Mosin Nagay 762 by 54R carbine and his 41 mag, which one gave more, barrel fire, flame. And I recall it was a 41 mag. Anyway, I don't remember for sure. I think it was. But, you know, this guy was something else. I'll tell you what. He had been arrested down at the federal building after the McVeigh, during the McVeigh trial. He was driving around the block every day. Anyway, he was quite the character. And when he did that, they took his knives and machetes and hatchets and stuff. He was very, very upset about that. I always thought I'd see him again. I saw him on a video one time on History Channel about the border. He was down there defending the country from the border. Had a militia group down there. It was amazing. Anyway, just thinking out loud about my family history and kids and stuff. Things we did, things we didn't do. I wish I'd done more camping, and I wish I'd done more reading with my children, with especially David and Isaac. You know, Anna, Susie, and I did a lot of reading. Ian did a lot of reading, and they all three got more homeschooling too. That was another big difference between my 5 children. The 3 older ones got more schooling, more real school, in-school training. And then when I pulled them out because Susie and Ian were in Christian, quote unquote, Christian school across the street. They entered a speech contest. Ian memorized the Declaration of Independence, and I took out I left the whereas clauses in that were relevant to today. Whereas they quarter themselves, and whereas they do search and seizure, and they steal things basically, quarter foreign troops, you know, in houses. He memorized that, and he did that. And Susie memorized I had a dream the other night. I did not understand. A figure walked in through the mist with a flintlock in his hand. His clothes were torn and dirty, and speaking low to me, he said, he took off his 3-cornered hat and speaking low to me, he said, "We fought a revolution to secure our liberty," et cetera, et cetera. So 12 stanzas of that poem. She memorized it. I think she's in 3rd grade. I thought, well, maybe I should call the school and make sure that's okay, because everybody's memorizing the Fuzzy Bear poem. Most of the people in Ian's class memorized I Have a Dream by Martin Luther King. And so anyway, turned out when I called the school, they said, well, you have to call the regional administrator. So I called the regional administrator, and the lady said, no, she cannot do that poem because we can't have one child being any better than all the rest. Well, when the whole thing was over, that's like DEI, right? Whatever that stands for. Diversion, equity, and inclusion. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. I think that's right. That's what's going on in the WNBA bullshit and Nike manufacturing company and everything. Idiocy. But anyway, so Susie did not do the Visitor from the Past. That was the name of the poem. I had a dream the other night that I did not understand. And she did something else. I don't know, maybe shorter. I don't know if she did the poem or not. But anyway, when it was all said and done, I was sitting across the aisle from one of the parents who was grading the speeches, right? And I'm going to talk here for a while. And what happened was I watched the guy. His son was in the contest, and he did I Had a Dream, and he did a terrible job of it. He did it with no inflection. He forgot parts. He paused. I think somebody was prompting him. There are 10 categories with 1 to 5 points in each one. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 10, 50 points. Perfect score for when he did his crappy little speech. And Ian did the Declaration of Independence with perfect, word for word perfect, with inflection, with expression, with hand movements, everything. It was just excellent. And he got an honorable mention. Gee, we're glad you showed up, dummy. That's all he got. So that was the last day my kids ever went to that school. I pulled them out and went, we ain't doing that no more. We're going to homeschool. So that was, so Anna got the most of good schooling and reading, probably the most of the reading. Now, when she entered the school, I got to say this, when she entered the school, she took a placement test, SAT test or something like that. She got the highest score of anybody had ever taken in the entire history of the school, including the pastor's daughter, who was the former highest scorer. So Anna was very sharp, very sharp. She's a machine, which I learned from a Vietnam vet, from 3 tours in Vietnam. Another experience that Ian and Anna had, this friend from Kansas took him out into the country, and he ran him through the Green Beret survival course of map and compass training, orienteering. You had a beaded thing with count your steps at pace count screen. He had one of those for each one of them, and they did pace count. He gave them a compass heading, and then see if they got to a certain point. And Anna was perfect. In fact, when he came back, I'm not going to use the French word he used, but effing word. He said, "Jerry, your daughter effing scared me." She said, "Your daughter Anna is an effing machine." He said, if I gave her a reading for Campo, Colorado, 200 miles away, she would not miss it by 200 feet. She's so accurate, so precise, so machine-like. She was perfect. He said, "Ian, your son, he effed the dog. He just beat around the, he got there, but he did it by cheating, basically rounding the corners off and, shortening things. And he got there, but he didn't do it the way he should have done it." So Anna would have made a good Green Beret. Ian, not so much, although Ian would be better for all the other facets of it, for killing and stuff and shooting and accuracy and speed. Lightning fast reflexes come from the Scottish Highland side of the family. My wife's side, not mine, that's for sure. I'm Irish, she's Scottish. So anyway, I'm going to have to stop this one and just start one for the, I don't know if I might lose everybody here, though. Maybe I'll just leave it on. Sarge, hey, buddy. It's cold. That's all I know. It's not snowing or anything. It's going down. It's getting colder. Next few nights going to be like, I think 0 tonight or 0 tomorrow night, and then -7, something like that. -7, yeah. Because my son-in-law's he's managing rental properties. And hey, Reek, how you doing? Gad, how you doing there, buddy? Current temp 21 or 2, I don't know. DEI didn't earn it yet. Didn't earn it, yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you, so much stuff's going on with the WNBA. It's just so fascinating to me. This is going to be weird for me to talk about. I've mentioned it before, but WNBA, that stands for Women's National Basketball Association. And very bizarre stuff going on. I mean, just totally bizarre. And when I wrote on a couple of them, I said, look, here's just, I'm not saying anybody needs to make a big deal out of this, but start looking at the number of people who, and I'll tell you why I said this in a minute, but I said, I wish I could grab my magazine over there. Yeah, what the hell? I'll do it one way or another. Let me try that. So we can do it without spilling my coffee. It's not coffee. It's Dandy brew. Dandy is something like a dandelion, powdered, dehydrated dandelion tea. So it's can't tell. It's good. It tastes really good. It's like coffee. It has a diuretic effect, I'm thinking, and stuff like that. It's good for your liver and blood and all that good stuff. So yeah, I got it. I need a grabber in or something. A grabber rubber. I call them grabber. Reacher. Need a reacher. A jack reacher. That's how the guy came up with the name for that movie, Reacher. He had the character all perfected. He had everything, his background, everything else, but he didn't have the name. And they're in the store one day, and he's tall, he's like 6 foot something. And his wife says, "Can you reach that for me?" He goes, "That's it, Reacher." She said, "Well, if you don't make it as a author, you can always get a job as a reacher." And he goes, "That's his name, Reacher." Alan Richkin is playing him now. So much better than Tom Cruise. Oh shit! Look at that in my water. Get my backrest back in place. Come on. Okay. Where are we going here? All right. So. Get my legs back up on the camping cot so that my feet don't freeze, don't get cold, chilled, whatever you want to call it. Not freezing. They wouldn't freeze in, but they're getting chilly. Oh, okay, there we go. Tony's Coffee House. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Geez, I haven't seen you up here in a long time. Coffee. Current temp, is that 21? F, current, yeah. Didn't earn it, yeah. Okay, so anyway, I know this is crazy, but Look at that. Dropping the ball there and head over a little bit. Time Magazine Athlete of the Year. This isn't female athlete of the year. This is athlete of the year worldwide, every sport, everything. This woman is the the athlete of the year. You're talking rugby, sports, golf, every Olympic phase, every male sport, hockey, soccer, rugby. That's it. This woman is the athlete of the year for Time Magazine. She's got about 50 other awards that are not related to basketball. She broke 62 records in basketball over her collegiate and just her rookie year in the WNBA. 62 records, I believe it was. She set records that Michael Jordan didn't set, and that Pistol Pete Maravich did not set. In other words, she played in a football stadium for a practice game for college. 57,000 people in a football stadium for a basketball game to see her play. It's amazing. I don't know what I can say, but lives are changing because of her. And one of her teammates said, Caitlin is changing the world. That's really happening. She's got a very high standard of living. They're not rich wealth-wise, but just very simply. But she has a very high moral code, and she was raised Catholic. So I had a dream about it one day. I wanted to meet her father and say, what in the world did you teach that girl? It's like she's like perfect, Somebody gouged her in the eye. She doesn't say anything about it. No, it was an accident. Hammered at the ground multiple times, to the floor multiple times during the course of the season. Clothesline, punch in the face, hit in the eye, hit in the back, hit from the side. I mean, hit so hard you go sliding across the floor, that type of thing. But anyway, I'm just saying, she's never retaliated, never talked back, never got angry. Well, she got angry, you could tell that. One time you could read her lips. I would like to punch her in the face, but she didn't. She did not take the reaction, did not take vengeance. Never once did she take vengeance. Not verbally, not financially, nothing. Kind of financially now. But at this point in time, she's actually she has control of her life to such a degree that, okay, I hope everybody's that is listening to me knows who Michael Jordan was. Assume so, right? Michael Jordan, Air Jordan, Nike shoes, Air Jordan. That's what I wore on the dock in Denver for like 6 years. I bought a pair at a thrift store for $5, and I wore them because they were so comfortable, and they were high tops, and they laced up, and they were good. They're like boots. And guys are like, "Why are you wearing your good basketball shoes?" That's because I only wear my good boots. I had a pair of boots I paid $10 for, and I didn't want to wear them, run around on the dock. So the Nikes lasted a long time. Anyway, so, but Air Jordan shoes, and the first Wilson basketball. Now Nike's a piece of excrement company right now. They're just absolutely murdering themselves because they're woke and they're DEI and all that bullshit, and just nasty stuff. So anyway, you're neither here nor there at this point. So I wanted to just talk about this for a minute because there's nothing. I would like to get a basketball for each one of my kids. Autographed ball for my children, my grandchildren. Someday, if I get wealthy, I do that because it's a testimony. To me, it's a testimony. That's what I want to get at here in a minute. But so about the time of the Olympics, okay, whenever that was, that's when I first started picking up my feet, and I was just so awed by the fact that I'd see her get hammered and go sliding across the floor, and just bounce right up and run down to the end of the court to play the game. She loved basketball so much she never let the beating hurt her. But what she did was they pointed out early on. She goes, she doesn't get mad. She takes vengeance on the scoreboard. If they pissed her off, so she'd win the game. She'd a 30-point jump shot from beyond the logo. Right at the buzzer to win the game. That type of thing. It's just amazing athlete, just amazing dedication, and everything else. So, Wilson basketball. So the last time that Wilson basketball had a signature series of basketballs for any athlete, any basketball athlete, NBA, anything, was Michael Jordan. That was the last time they did it. The only time they did it. And they did that for Caitlin Clark. And I hear it's, I mean, I'm hearing rumors that it's a like $15 billion contract. That's how much they figure they're going to sell $15 billion worth of basketballs. And if you had the idea of the number of 70-year-old men I've seen on the videos, you know, saying, I didn't know what WNBA was. I didn't never watch an NBA game. I've never watched an NBA game in my life. I've never watched a graduate, a high school, or a college game, or an NBA game in my entire life. I remember listening to the NBA. This would have been, I think, the 70s, I think, when Jerry West was playing for the Lakers. You know, buzzer beaters. Last second, you know, Jerry West, yes, he win. Lakers win, you know. So last time I listened to a game, we had any interest in basketball. But the number of 70-year-old men in this country alone probably is, I'd say there's thousands, millions of them, maybe thousands, maybe hundreds, definitely hundreds, thousands of 70-year-old men with grandpas. You know, with the first time they were interested basketball was Caitlin Clark. And I'm sure a lot of them have the same idea as me, you know. I like to buy a basketball for my kids just as a testimony. Kids, this is how you like to live your life, like this girl. Dream big, aim for something big. When they have a little paper, like a notebook paper from grade school. I think when she's about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old, little cloud things, you know. I want to grow up and be a basketball player. I want to get a scholarship. I want to become the best basketball player in the world. I want to meet Maya Moore. That was her hero. Maya Moore was one of the great WNBA players, and that was her hero. And that happened. She met her. One time they had her all set up. She didn't know she was going to be there. Shut up. I was stupid. I'm sorry. But anyway, she had no idea she could be there, but the news media was there, and they had it all set up. And she goes, "Yeah, you want to be Maya Moore?" And she screamed, you know. And they hugged each other, and Maya Moore had a jersey for her, autographed jersey. So anyway, but $15 billion basketball deal. They were going to sell that many easily. Probably sell $30 billion. When she was recruited, they put her jerseys on sale. They sold out within like 40 minutes. I mean, like thousands of jerseys in 40 minutes. When Wilson Basketball put the basketballs out, 10,000 were gone in like 1 hour. 10,000 basketballs in 1 hour. Gone. So yeah, amazing. So just cool. So what I started observing was she never retaliated. She never came back, never said anything nasty to anybody. She trash talked, yeah, but like one time they're up 20 points, this little one of her opponent guard, what was her name? Haley Van Lith, yeah. Kind of giving her a hassle, and she goes, "Hey, you're down by 20. Shut up. You know, this is not the time to be trash talking. You know, when you're down by 20 and you're losing the game, there's only 10 minutes left. You're done. You're cooked. Don't be talking nasty to me. I won, you know." So she will do that kind of stuff, but she doesn't argue with somebody. She'll challenge the refs once in a while and get a technical. But anyway, it's just so funny. So one day I woke up and I was thinking about it. And I was thinking, you know, all the people that screwed her over, said something bad about her. You're talking media people that are fired, lost their job. They're no longer commenting on a game. They used to be the game commentator. Now they're fired. Journalists who got fired. I mean, I'm thinking Greg Davis. I saw one the other day. I can't remember his name. Natalie Esquire, Noel, Ellie Duncan, yeah, Joy Taylor, highfalutin, high level people, you know, very wealthy people, destroyed their careers just by saying something shit about her, speaking shade, throwing shade on her, and you know, insulting her, accusing her of stuff. And contrary, everybody that has been speaking well of her, blessing her, you know, is doing well. So when I woke up one time, the words came to my mind, you know, I will bless them that bless thee and curse them that curse thee. And I take a screenshot when I wake up and I went 12:03, and I'm like, I thought Genesis 12:3, so I looked that up and I was like, I will bless them, bless thee, and curse them that curse thee. So I wrote down a couple of the comments. I said, hey, you know, you might keep there's a couple of the Christian what do you call them, commentators, not commentators. They don't comment on games, but they're websites, podcasters, podcasters and stuff. One is Adrian Ross, female lady, and then Jason. Come on, Jason. Oh. Not Kilpatrick. Whatever, Jason, whatever his name is. Doggone it. Slips on mine. Sorry. Anyway, they're both Christians, and but they both, have always spoken very highly of her. Stephen A. Smith. Everybody should know who he is if you follow sports at all. Stephen A. Smith. He was at her basketball graduation or something. Her college graduation or something like that. Last game of college, something. Yeah, maybe it was last game in college or tournament or something. But anyway, he was there for that and did a special interview of her at that point in time. He's held her. People have been watching her since she was in grade school. When she was in 7th grade, she was being recruited by Notre Dame to go to college in 7th grade, and her mom and dad would go tell the brothers to go. One of the older ones, younger, they hey, go out and get the mail. Don't let her see anything. She doesn't need to see those things. She needs to have a normal life. So they protected her from have her head in the clouds. They just wanted to have as much of a normal life as possible. So anyway, so I saw that, just blessing and blessing, and cursing and cursing. So I think it's kind of happening. So it's just interesting. But it's funny. This magazine is not about athletes. It's about everything. It's got there was Elton John. Yeah, right. James Cameron, the guy that did not Terminator, Alien. I know he did Alien. Filmmaker and explorer. Coco Gauff, tennis player. Don't know who she is. Steve Boyce, conservationist. Never heard of him. Sonia Yachiva, opera singer. Oh boy, never heard of her. Tom Slingsby, sailor. Miriam Isusufi, architect. Scotty Scheffler, golfer. Never done a. Janik Sinner, tennis player. No. Gregoire Courtine, neuroscientist. No. Jamie Chadwick, driver. I don't know who Danica Patrick is, but not Jamie Chadwick. Another female driver, NASCAR maybe. Danica Radiani Flesh, social entrepreneur. Christina Mittermeier, conservation photographer. Lydia Ko, golfer. Nope. Yannick Nedzek Seguin, conductor and pianist. Nope. So all these people, I don't know who any of these people are, but none of them are on the cover. Isn't that crazy? Athlete of the Year is on the cover. That's pretty cool. Anyway, that's a big, thick magazine now. But it's got a good interview with her in here, and I thought it'd be a longer interview because they're quoted on videos a lot, but I'm not seeing a lot of. I guess I got to read it. I haven't read it yet. So anyway, one of her opponents, Satu Sabali, said that Caitlyn is her own economy, and she is. I mean, she like the NBA had this thing last year with between. If play basketball, if you follow basketball at all, you know who Steph Curry is, right? LeBron James, two of the big stars. I know of another guy just because of her, because I've kind of reading too much NBA stuff, but what's his name? Doncic. Luka Doncic, some Polish, maybe, I don't know. He's the superstar of the NBA right now, better than LeBron. He's now playing with LeBron and the Lakers because he got dumped from the Dallas Mavericks. Anyway, point is that Steph Curry last year at the NBA All-Star Weekend, Steph Curry had a 3-point shootout against Sabrina Ionescu, the best shoe point shooter, the 3-point shooter in the WNBA against the best in the NBA. And he won by like one ball or something like that. So it was close. It was fun. They were talking about doing it this year, and Sabrina wanted Clayton Clark to be on the team with her against what they call the Splash Brothers. Steph Curry and a guy named Klay Thompson, who used to be teammates, but then they had a falling out or something. Klay got mad at Steph about something, who knows what. Maybe a girl, I don't know. Went to another team. They were like really at odds, like, fisticuffs almost in games. One time they were at odds. Klay lost, and Steph Curry won from a 3-point shootout. Anyway, team effort, yeah. But so anyway, this year the NBA wanted Adam Silver, who's the president or owner of the NBA, wanted Caitlin Clark and Sabrina to go against the Splash Brothers, the Swiss sisters against the Splash Brothers. Steph and Clay against Sabrina and Caitlin. And Caitlin said, no, not going to do it. Everybody, some people were pissed off. Some people thought it was a good idea, but she refused to do it. Now, she'd already turned down Ice Cube, okay? Ice Cube offered her $10 million to play in a 3-on-3 full court tournament league. $10 million. She said, no, I don't need any money. And so I don't want to do it. I'm too busy. I got to practice for next year. She wants to be the best. She wants to go to the champion. She wants to take the championship. I think she's going to do it because the front office is giving her everything she needs to do that with. Anyway, so she turned that down. She turned down, well, first of all, she turned down the Ice Cube at $10 million. Then she turned down the Unrivaled League, which was, they offered her $1 million for playing in the Unrivaled. She said, no, I don't need the money. She didn't say that anyway. She said, no, I'm too busy. I don't have time for that. Instead of that, she played the LGBA golf tournament and brought, I don't know, like 400% increase in viewership there. Just amazing. And they actually rolled out the red carpet for her instead of trying to beat her up and kill her, like in WNBA, hammer her and beating her and poking her eye and everything. They, roll out the red carpet for her and advertising everything. I mean, it's just amazing. So they had their head together. I mean, she could put out a golf shoe and make $1 million. Anyway, so Nike might someday put out a shoe for her. They're dragging their ass, and she signed a contract with them in college. They were coming out with a high school for LeBron James when he was still in high school. They signed her when she was in college, and she's sticking to them. She's being honorable. They're screwing her over big time, and they're killing themselves doing it. They're just trashing her whole company, but she doesn't need the money. They signed her for $28 million, and they have not given her a shoe yet. Not one shoe, nothing. And they could have made $1 billion now by doing it, but because she's white and Catholic and straight and not lesbian, they don't like her. So that sucks for them, man. I'll tell you what. Hollywood figured it out. They stopped making those stupid woke movies. They figured out, woke don't pay. You go woke, you go broke, and that's what WNBA just hasn't figured that out yet. Neither has Nike, but they're both gonna learn. Adidas wants her bad. She could sign with Adidas any day. Wilson basketball, if Wilson basketball made shoes, they'd be in business, man. They make $1 billion real quick. But anyway, so I'm just rambling here. I know, but I'm talking because I want to talk to my children, my grandchildren. I'm just saying, to look at someone's life who is a lot of people learn from her, because when Kelsey Mitchell, that was the other guard on the Indiana Fevers with the team she's on. Kelsey Mitchell, I quoted Satu Sabali, who's was on the Dallas Wings. She quit. She said, I want to play with someone with high IQ. She said she would like to play with Caitlin today, but she didn't. She went with another team, I think the LA Sparks or something. I don't know. Dallas, I don't know where she went. But she said of Caitlin that Caitlin is her own economy. And she is. Her word is gold. Everything she touches turned to gold. So, but a teammate of hers, Kelsey Mitchell, said in an interview, she said, Caitlin is changing the world. And Adrienne Ross pulled that out, and she goes, this is so amazing. She said it's very perceptive. And so in Uganda, there's a bunch of little girls there. Some alumni from the university kid went to school at Iowa Hawkeyes, University of Iowa. They funded this deal to show a bunch of little girls in Africa who they've been in war. A lot of their entire families were killed. They've been, raped and sex trafficked and, on massive trauma throughout their whole lives. And as therapy, what do kids have to do in war-torn countries like that? This horrible situation. They can play ball. They can play soccer. They can play basketball. Well, they've never seen basketball in their life. They didn't know what a basketball was. They didn't know what a basketball game was. They didn't know what a hoop was. So these alumni from University Hawkeyes, put in a post in the ground, put a ring. All they got is a rim on it. No backboard, no net, no nothing, just a rim. These little tiny girls are sitting there trying to throw the ball up through it from the bottom. I got one through it. And they all yell to go through it from the bottom straight up through the hoop, So, but as they watched the championship game between her and the whatever it was to the finals. I think it was Ohio. Yeah, it was Ohio Buckeyes. They played the game and they won, but the little girl was sitting there, with it's called Child's Voice, is the organization of the alumni that had that, and they put this thing together. They had a flat screen TV, about maybe a 30-inch screen, They had a Wi-Fi unit and a signal, and they were able to watch that championship game between the Hawkeyes and the Buckeyes. And one girl was sitting there being interviewed, talking, and she goes, I didn't know what basketball was, but as we started to watch, we got so excited. And she said, it was like magic in my eyes. I said, it was like magic in my eyes. And I thought, I like this. I enjoy this. I want to do this. I want to try this. So a lot of little girls in Uganda are going to be playing basketball, and probably one of them will become a multimillionaire because of that. So if the world persists, it could end tomorrow. It could be the end of the world as we know it could happen tomorrow. I know that the end of the world as we know it could happen anytime, and I understand that. But until that time, we're supposed to take dominion and to do it. And Caitlin is talking about, paying it forward, making everybody's lives better as possible. But she's bought houses for people, a house for people, or homeless, a car for people. She does all kinds of really interesting things. Has a lot of community services, especially in our local area. So what she did with let's go back to the NBA All-Star Weekend. That happened already. I think it's already over. But anyway, she said she did not want to go to San Francisco. Who would poop on the street and all the other things going on there? So she didn't want to go to San Francisco and bring all that attention and money into San Francisco and to the NBA. Why should she? She wanted to keep it local. Number one, she wanted to play under game conditions. She didn't want to shoot off a rack, so I thought, game condition, okay. She wants to be moving and shoot like it was a game. So then she said, well, I want to do my first three-point shootout. She hasn't done one yet. She goes, my first three-point shootout, I want to be at WNBA All-Star Weekend, women's national basketball, and to bring the eyes and the seats and the money to the WNBA, not the NBA. And to her audience is going to be in Indianapolis, that's where the Indiana Fever is from. So she's going to have it in Indianapolis, and it's going to be on her home local court, her home local, city anyway. I don't know what court it's going to be at, but probably the Indiana Pacer Arena, I would assume. And then going to have it there. So all the money is going to flow into Indiana and into Indianapolis and into her team. And her teammates, they're going to become wealthy because they're going to be, all kinds of endorsements and NIL. That's name, image, and likeness, NIL. Well, she's worth, I don't know, they estimate her. She's one of the top 10 or top 30. Forbes has her listed as one of the top 10 or top 30 athletes in the world, female athletes. It's all kinds of awards. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling about this. It's just fascinating to me that it's a lot of things are happening in the world in that sense. So, do good, do right, live your life by morals, by codes. And seriously, what in the heck, what she learned? Because I was brought up Catholic. Okay, this in my dream I had. I was crying. I said, I was talking to her dad, and I was like, I was brought up Catholic. What happened to me? Why is she like she is? And why? My parents didn't teach me nothing. They were Catholic, yeah, but they're like go to church on Sunday, and who the hell with the rest of the week? That's what most Catholics are. They'll drink, heavy smoke. My dad was an alcoholic. He smoked cigarettes. Yeah, we went camping and stuff. We did a lot of good things. I'm not faulting my dad by any means, but he didn't really teach me much of anything, and certainly nothing about living a good life or being a moral person or anything. Didn't teach me nothing about money. Not too much about mechanics. Enough about mechanics to ruin some stuff. Like replace the water pump when you needed a thermostat. Replace the transmission when you needed to change the filter. Anyway, no big deal. I'm not complaining. I'm just explaining. I didn't learn a lot from him, but this woman learned a lot from her parents. I'll tell you what. Maybe it was a church she went to. Maybe it was a high school, Dowling High School, Catholic High School in Des Moines. I don't know, but man, she has a system of living, a code of life. So yeah. Hello everybody. I don't know if anybody's still, if I put y'all to sleep, sorry if I did. So it's fascinating to me, just absolutely amazing story. So it's just been it's a journey for her, journey for a lot of people. So here's the thing is, Jason, doggone it. I think of his name here. I just read today a guy, Jason, whatever his name is, has made a prediction, a prophecy, that the NBA is going down and the WNBA is coming up, and the NBA is going to become irrelevant compared to the WNBA. That the funds are going to flow into the WNBA and not the NBA anymore. And she's making that happen. I'm telling you what. Oh, I can't remember it. She was interviewed by the Kelsey brothers, Jason and whatever his brother's name is. That's right, Jason. Taylor Swift's boyfriend. There he is, Jason Whitlock. Whitlock. Ah, yeah. Jason Whitlock. So anyway, he's made that prediction that, and you look what happened with the shootout, the All-Star Weekend, the NBA All-Star Weekend was like, go to sleep on that one. And then it's going to be interesting to see what happens at the WNBA weekend, All-Star Weekend. Another thing she did this last year was she has refused to go to the the year Michael Jordan, 1980 or whatever it was, the U.S. Olympic team. Michael Jordan, they picked Michael Jordan, and he was like he gave a whole new lift to the NBA. He resuscitated the NBA. It was dying back in the 70s, and Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, kind of restored the NBA, and it was kind of having a lull. And when Michael Jordan came along, boom, the league picked up, and they sent him to the All-Star Weekend at not All-Star, but he was on the U.S. Olympic team, so he brought basketball to the world. He rebuilt the NBA by going and doing that. Well, this year, they could have sent Caitlin Clark, but they all rejected her because she was, like I said, white, straight and all that. And they didn't want her on the team. They said she didn't qualify. She wasn't good enough. And so the lady that coached the USA Olympic team, Cheryl Reeves, said, somebody asked the question in a public interview. They said, what do you think about Caitlin Clark? She goes, I don't give two shits about Caitlin Clark. They said, she goes, I don't give one shit about Caitlin Clark. Well, that was her demise. She went down because so Caitlin Clark took the rookies on her team. She was a rookie, the only rookie on the team, but she took all the losers, the ones that weren't good enough to qualify for the U.S. Olympic team. The U.S. Olympic team were like, as Diana Taurasi said, she should look at a superstar against 18-year-olds. No, it was Cheryl Swift, but she's gonna be coming against some grown ass women here, grown women who have been playing professional ball for a lot of years. So Caitlin, the rookie, took the rejects from the Olympic team and beat the Olympic team. Yeah, took the other All-Stars in the WNBA. Two of her teammates, Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston, and whoever else played. I don't know who played, but one of the other rookie class, Angel Reese, was on the team, and they played together well. And she defeated the team that went to the Paris Olympics. She defeated the U.S. Olympic team handily too. I mean, it was a good game, but she beat them. A rookie beat them. These grown ass women who knew she wasn't good enough to be on the team. She beat them. That's so funny. And Cheryl Reeves is just her life's in a toilet right now, and Becky Hammon's life's in a toilet. Other coach who was against her, nasty. Asia Wilson's life's in a toilet. Anyway. The whole superstar team, the whole superpower team dynasty is in the toilet to Las Vegas Aces. Oh, sorry about this long enough. Okay, so shit can that one. I don't know if I'm going to read right now or not because my voice is not going to last. Maybe it will. I should start another video though, shouldn't I? If you want to stay on, I'm going to come right back on, okay? I'm going to shut this one down. So that's my thought for the night. Good night. Stay around, hang around. I'll be right back, okay?